Welcome back, guys! There has been a new update to the game. I think it's patch 1.1. So we are going to start a new campaign. Now, I want to start as the Allies. But although there's been a ton of changes in the patch, there was no mention of tanks being debugged. And the British tanks in particular were absolutely horrendous for bugs. The Germans were not good, but they were nowhere near as bad as the British. But in fact, yeah, let's do it. Let's hopefully win the campaign before we actually get to tanks. So there's been a crap ton of changes, but we're gonna go on elite. Now it's supposedly much harder to actually get great victories now. So I won't go into all the patch changes, but apparently the enemy aren't going to suicide all of their men very often. So it's going to be very difficult to actually churn through all the enemies. Now the major difference is you don't get any supply from planes and tanks anymore. So we're going to have to use infantry doom stacks to actually provide the supply. But the problem with that is, if you create an infantry doom stack, the enemy matches your infantry doom stack. So you end up with a battle where there's too many enemies to actually kill. So I think the only way to actually get great victories now is going to be using these supply depots, which is not ideal, but it's something that we don't usually do, so we may as well do it. So I think what I'm going to do... What am I going to do? Not 100% sure. I haven't really thought about how to approach this. Because, like I say, if I create an infantry doom stack, they're just going to match me. And they've changed the timer in the latest patch. And it's virtually impossible to stall the timer, because you take the control point almost immediately once you start capturing it. So stalling the timer is practically impossible now. So we have to actually manage to get a great victory in 20 minutes without any pauses in the timer. So the only real way to do that is to attack enemies who've got hardly any cores. And so, yeah. I'm wondering if a supply depot with a mini doom stack of planes plus 2 or 3 infantry cores, if that's going to be the best way to do it. So let's use... Right, so we've got 3 elites. So the 3 elites can be the troops that we actually use. So we can move these infantry corps out. I think I might just spread them around everywhere. Okay, so 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 2. Attention, on va y aller. 3, 2, 1. On a de nouveaux ordres. Allez, on accélère. And then we've got 4 here, so we can move that over to here. So now we've got a line of 3 infantry across all of these. So we're going to create a French plane doom stack, I reckon. Now it's not going to provide any supplies, so we are going to need these supply depots. So let me have a little think here. The fighters are pointless, so I'd need at least bombers. But really I need the harassment to actually do much. The bombers can obviously take out the enemy emplacements, but I could take out the enemy emplacements with artillery. The only problem with that is our main enemy is time, because we can't stall. So the planes would definitely help in cutting the time down. So yeah, let's still try and use the planes. Let's have a look up here. So we've got 1, 2. We've got a Frenchie here. So let's move this Frenchie. He can just jump in Lunaville. So let's move these two over to Arras. Now we have obviously got a lot of cores here. I didn't really plan on using the Brits though. I was going to go Frenchies only. In the actual fighting, in the attacking I should say. So let's stick all these into Ypres, see if we can get them to commit some defences up here. Looks like I've put elites into Hasbrook. That's not a big deal, I don't think. Okay, so here is the plan. I'm going to try an attack in Saarburg and Longwy. They're going to be the two places that I'm going to attack. Now I've got 3 elites in here and 4 standard infantry in here. Got 1 plane in there, so let's put 2 planes into each one. And then I need harassment missions and supply depots. So I'm just going to defend, I reckon, until I've got them 2 things. So defeat 10 German corps. Right, I think to make it harder, I am going to auto-resolve all of the defense missions still. A great loss? It didn't say I was going to get a great loss. Still got loads of stars on there, like, but it's quite surprising. Okay, so we can get 1 supply depot. It's going to be a couple of turns until I get the other, and it's going to be a couple of turns until I can get harassment as well. I mean, I could just have a little tester battle where I don't exactly plan on trying to get a great victory, but we can just get our eye in with the new patch updates. Right, so Longwy and Saarburg have only got 2 corps in each one, so I could attack either of these. This has got 4 corps with 2 planes, so let's make sure that I get the supply depots in both of these. Now, we haven't got a massive amount to play with, but we've got 1,000 supply there and 1,120 there. But let's jump in and see how we get on. Now, there are a few major changes in the patch notes that I want to test out to see how they work. So one of them is the enemy trench systems are meant to be improved. Now, I assume that means that they're not all connected, but we'll see. Another is the light artillery barrage radius is significantly reduced. I think it's half of the size. So that's going to make a massive difference. And then another thing, it's not in the patch notes, so it probably hasn't been changed, but I still want to check anyway, is the planes, when they refuel, do they give back the supply? Right, how are we going to approach this? Obviously this is a tester battle, so I might not be just trying to get a great victory, because I'll be testing stuff. Well, I'm definitely going to need all 3 light artillery barrage, light artillery. What the hell are they called? Oh, just light field artillery. So I'm definitely going to need them. Let's put it this side so it does cover X. And then if I was going to get the heavy ones as well, it's not going to leave us with a huge amount of supply. And then if we get an OBS balloon as well, that'll definitely not leave us with much supply. So let's see how much we've got left for actual troops.
Au rapport. Renfort, au rapport. Renfort prêt.
Right. So we need 9 trenches.
On est arrivé. On attend les ordres. On arrive après la bataille, on dirait. Au rapport. Renfort, au rapport. Renfort prêt. On est arrivé. On attend les ordres.
And then all we've got left is 122 supply, which is not a massive amount. We're obviously going to get 25% more. But it's probably going to be a bit too tight to get a great victory, I reckon. But the main thing is finding out whether these planes are actually going to give us back the resources.
Préparez les bombardiers. Chargez l'artillerie. Établissez les positions. Équipe prête.
Okay, so let's start taking out some of these MG nests. We can use the heavy artillery to take out some of the soldiers. Soldiers. Hope if I could actually speak.
Préparez-vous à recevoir les ordres de tir.
So we might not even stage an attack on this battle, just while we're testing out. That killed him really easily. I'm not even sure if I needed 3. Let's just try 2 on this next one. They not got an obs balloon? Looks like they're potentially... He might just be reinforcing over here actually. Right, it looks like 2 artillery. So they've increased the damage that the light artillery do. That's interesting. So they've reduced the radius but increased the damage. Right, well, let's see how the light artillery get on against the enemy artillery. Is that going to take him out? It did, just about. It's not doing loads of damage, but it's not doing too bad. Right, so the plane's getting close to refueling, so we're going to find the answer out in a second. Interesting, he actually tried to attack and just ran straight into the pillbox. Okay, so the plane's about to refuel. I've got 53. I got the money back. Interesting. So you do get the cash back. So that's pretty decent. That is good to know. Is he gonna go after this? I was hoping he'd go after this one. No, he is going after this one. And it looks like the light artillery is not going to manage to get the job done. That's unfortunate. Préparez-vous à recevoir les ordres de tir. Oh no. Where are you going, mate? You've not finished your job. We've got some artillery up here. I thought they'd fix this. It said in the patch notes that bombers won't not drop bombs anymore. I'm guessing it didn't mean this in particular. Interesting, we didn't take him out. Right, let's see how light artillery does against troops in the... it looks like we've actually run out of supplies. Interesting, it's doing a lot to one and hardly anything to the other. Right, well that was 2 light artillery barrages which cost 6 each, and it did about half of a health bar. The heavy artillery costs 9 each, so for 27 you can wipe out 2 infantry divisions that are in a trench. This was 12 to get half a bar, so yeah, the heavy artillery is definitely the better option to go for infantry in trenches. Right, well, we could try and take a point, but they've got so many troops, and with these trenches all not being connected, I'd have to spend a lot of supply on light artillery barrages to actually get anywhere. So I don't think it's worth going for an attack.
Attention.
I think we're going to need more supply depots to actually pull an attack off. Obviously you could just add more infantry corps, but each time you add an infantry corps to a region, the enemy tries to match it, so we'd just be increasing the amount of enemy supply at the same time. So I think supply depots is going to be the way forward, which is how it should be really. I think this is how the game was meant to be played. And the planes giving 100 supply that's been changed now, it doesn't give any. I think that was a huge exploit. I don't know whether giving 0 supply was necessary. They could have just reduced it to 25, but I can understand why they might have overcompensated. So yeah, I'm just going to shell them a little bit and then call a ceasefire, I reckon. So, nothing much to see here. No point in carrying the video on for this part. Okay, so what did we learn here? Enemy trench systems are going to be incredibly difficult to take over now. So it's going to require a lot of supply for light artillery barrages. I think we're probably going to need 4 corps to be able to suppress everybody. Because I think I'm going to need 4 light artillery, not just 3. And the heavy artillery is still better than the light artillery to kill troops in trenches. But the main thing was we still get technically free planes as long as they don't get shot down. So I think one thing that I would like to know is how long it takes for a plane to refuel, and then we can work out how many planes we can actually use and get the supply back. So I think I might do that little test off camera, because that won't be very entertaining. But, I mean, we could just play like this. You can win the campaign just by playing like this, because I take no losses. We cause gold damage to them, and I get more battle honours than they do. So if you wanted to be really cheesy, you could just play like this for the entire campaign, but that would be incredibly boring. So why would you want to play like that? You want to go for great victories. You want to try and take the enemy capital if you can. That's the goal anyway. So I think I can't remember where it is. I know it's Luneville that I'm attacking from. Saarburg, isn't it? So I think in Saarburg, I'm going to do that one off cam, because I want to just mess about, see how many planes it takes, how many planes I can refuel. So yeah, I'll do that one off cam, so I'll see you afterwards. Well, I hadn't actually anticipated on potentially winning this battle. I was only doing timings for the planes, really. But things are going quite well so far. I've managed to get into a position where I'm taking the command trench. Now, they might come back and retake it off me, but I thought I would carry on the video, the recording I should say, just in case I do actually manage to pull a victory out here. Now, it is going to be very tough because this battlefield is the really, really wide one, which means that my artillery can't hit all of the different spots. Now, I'm fully expecting there to be a load of infantry in these. I think I might just send one heavy artillery into each one of these. Right, so letting them take my points has worked out really well because it kept pausing the timer, and then I can go and retake it and pause the timer again. So it's given me a lot more time to actually play with than you would normally have, which is rather amusing. Okay, let's see if we can get some of these into these trenches.
On a de nouveaux ordres. Préparez-vous à tirer. Équipe prête. Préparez-vous, soldats.
Don't think I need that artillery there, but I'm going to send it anyway. Okay, let's see if we can get some heavy artillery in. So they have still got a load of stuff here. Yeah, this is definitely a change, having the infantry spread out when they lose men. Then again, this infantry hasn't actually lost that many men. Okay, so I'm going to bring in some more corps. But they're really low on supplies. So I reckon there's a chance I can do this. It's not going to be easy, but there's a chance. So it looks like you can still cheese the timer a little bit. I just moved this infantry troop out before I took the timer. And now I'm moving it back in again. And we've paused the timer again, so you can cheese the timer a little bit still. Which is good news. Gotta love a bit of cheese.
Attention, cette position est à nous.
Okay.
Attendez les ordres. On doit tenir cette position.
Tenez-vous prêts. Cette position est à nous. Attention, on doit tenir cette position. Halte.
So we're gonna go in again. These two in
Mettez-vous
here.
en position.
These
On a de
two
nouveaux ordres.
in
Mettez-vous
here.
en position. On a
These
de
two
nouveaux ordres.
in here.
Préparez-vous sur la ligne.
And these two in here.
Préparez-vous à tirer. Préparez-vous à
So
recevoir
I know
les
they've
ordres.
got some troops left, but I don't think they've got much.
Chargez
Oh, they haven't fixed the artillery, group selecting artillery. If you try and fire, it doesn't shoot with the outside arc one, even though you can shoot with one of them. Because for some reason it selects the closer arc one. That's rather frustrating that they haven't fixed that. Okay, I think I might just send some heavy artillery at this guy. Can't quite reach him with that one. Might be able to get some hits in there. Okay, I'm just going to move him out again. Unpause the timer. And it looks like we're going to take Y. That's fantastic.
nouveaux ordres. On se replie. Attendez les ordres. Tout le monde, retraite. Attendez les ordres. En marche. Attention, en marche.
Okay. There is a chance.
Tenez-vous prêts. Le commandement veut cette position.
Germans request to surrender. Well, they did say that they were going to do this, but I didn't really anticipate them doing it quite so soon. That's really, really cool. All points swap to Allied ownership and battle will end. Fantastic. Well, I got to see the surrender. That's really cool. I'm glad that started recording though. Well, we've got a great victory on our second attempt. That is very surprising. I had no intention of actually trying to get a great victory here. I was just seeing how many planes that you could get refueled. The answer to that question, by the way, is about 9. So it takes 2 minutes for the first plane to finish its mission and then start refueling. So the first plane starts refueling at minute 18 if you send the plane out immediately. And then it takes 2 minutes to refuel. So minute 18, you got 18 minutes left. So you can send out 9 planes in 18 minutes and have them all refueled. Obviously, that's the timer will be 0 by then. But you can assume that the time is going to get paused a few times. So yeah, having 2 air divisions so you can send out 8 aeroplanes is really useful. Or just having 1 division and sending 4 out. And then 4 out again once they've refueled. Okay, so how are we looking? 834, 447. We got 200 gold, so only 247. We got an extra 200 supply, so we got a net gain of 200 supply. So did they. Don't know how they got an efficiency medal for that, but they did. So yeah, we took a great victory on our second battle. So, I know you didn't see it, but the bombers did an amazing job of actually taking out the enemy artillery. And because we're going to be pretty limited on supply, I'm not really sure how useful harassment missions are going to be. So I think I might just use planes as bombers and not bother going for the harassment tech. because I'm not going to have the supply to support many harassment missions, and they don't do much damage to troops in trenches, and that's how I normally use them, to clear them out of the trenches. So I reckon just using them as pure bombers is going to be the way forward. Just clear out all the enemy artillery. So like I say, you get 8 free air wings basically, or 9 technically, that give back the supply once they've refueled. So that's quite a lot to be able to take out the enemy artillery. Obviously they might target the MG nests, but even if they do, that's fine by me. So yeah, bombers it is. Right. In that case then, I do really like this reduce air mission cooldown by 30 seconds, because that means that I'd be able to get a quarter more. So rather than having 9, I'd be able to get another 2, so I'd be able to get 11 missions out for free. So the landing strips have been dramatically nerfed. So they only actually give 5 supply per air wing, so they're basically pointless. So, but this is really useful. And I think this bomber, all bomb aircraft, bomb weapons increase the damage by 75%. So that might actually be really useful to get. Now it means that I'd need to spend 2 points into this, which I'm not going to be using, which is a bit annoying. So we're going to end up spending 3 points that we're not going to use to be able to get 7 points worth of decent aircraft tech upgrades. But they are really decent, so I think it would probably be worth it. Now I hadn't really anticipated on going much into flight on this campaign, but I still think I can get it to work quite well, even though you don't get any supply. I think it's still going to be pretty damn useful. Now these two are really good, reducing the heavy artillery by 20 seconds and light artillery by 3. I know 3 seconds doesn't sound like much, but them 3 seconds can mean the difference between getting an infantry squad wiped out. So I would like to go into these two eventually. Obviously the supply depots are like one of the most important things. I think they're going to be even more important than the gold now, because we're not going to be spending much gold on aircraft anymore. So yeah, I reckon I might go into flight first before I go into the supply. I don't know, I'll have a little think anyway. I'll have a little think. But I think we should call it a day for this episode. I'll have a little think about how I want to proceed in terms of tech. And then we shall continue this series in the next episode. And we might even be able to take Saarburg. And if I can take Saarburg, I might have a fairly decent run to Kreuznach. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That one's got 2 stars, that one's got 3. So I could go Hagenau, Pirmasens, and Speyer. If I took Karlsruhe, then it would cut off these divisions down here. Now I don't particularly like getting end tile cut-offs. Feels a little bit too cheesy for me. So I might just go Saarburg, Hagenau, Pirmasens, Kaiserslautern onto Kreuznach. And then while I'm doing this, I'll be doing another attack up here. Longwy, Bastogne, Diekirch, I'm not sure how you pronounce that. And then one of these two. Not this one, or this one actually, because that'll cut off all the enemy supply up there. So it'd have to be Echternach, Birkenfield, Kaiserslautern. So it'd be nice if we could get a proper encirclement without using edge tiles of all these territories here. That'd be really cool. So that's going to be the challenge then. Trying to link up in Kaiserslautern from Luneville and Verdun. That is the plan. Let's see if we can pull it off. Right, cheers for watching guys. Take care. I shall see you in the next one.